Itadaso, welcome to the Fut-Afrique channel. My name is Brian Mufiki. I'm joined here by Lex of Thunder as well as Pindam Zala. They subbed, you know, Sizwe is sitting out today. The reason, you know why Sizwe is sitting out today, Shane? He was running up and down the London Stadium when Bafana were playing a game against Uganda. I don't think he ever came down after that.
Too tired to get back. Yeah.
He saw Mufukeng coming in, he wanted to celebrate, and something happened, so it never worked out. So, gentlemen, let's talk about this. I mean, the last few days, it was all about international football. Bafana playing Uganda at home. Let's start there. Starting 11, we see in goals, we have Velimoto, who hasn't played for Bafana in a long time, you know, because Ronald Williams has been in goals for the longest of time. You're talking about Dotley, who was the captain of the Kosafa team, does get a start. Ngezana coming in after a brilliant performance in Europe, finds himself in a starting 11. Some odd reasons, South Africa taking an early lead, 1-0 the scoreline. Uganda comes back in the second half, and the first goal, long-range shot, boom, into the back of the net. And the second goal, almost similar situation, but this time around a howler from a goalkeeper. How did you see the game?
Well, Brian, for me, I think I can just put a little bit of blame to the coach, because somehow you look at the players that you have in your team, and then you look at the fortress where you're going to play. I mean, in terms of having the goalkeeper in China, who was at home but sitting on the bench, he's more experienced in the area where they were. So for me, yes, maybe because Velimoto was there as the second choice to Ronald Williams, so he had the upper hand of being the first choice keeper with Ronald Williams out. But for me, I think I was going to go for China, honestly speaking, because if you look at the results came with the players that are from the same place where they play their local football. Mufukeng came on, changed the game. Mbata came on, and then we got an equalizer. So I think in the goalkeeping department, China was supposed to be there. We should have got the 3 points.
I mean, there's this part that you always talk about, you know, playing more matches. You get to gel, you get to play better. Was it a good decision to play players who haven't played in a long time? Because remember, the last time Velimoto played a competitive match, you got to go back to May. You know, haven't played much football since then. Dotley was part of the Kosafa team, yes, but then, you know, his team is relegated. But he just moved to Chiefs now after his team got relegated. How much of an impact does that have?
Huge impact, and Jerry's right. Even though, you know, I know he's a Pirates man and all the players you spoke about were Pirates players, but besides that, he is so right. You play your players that are in form. The keeper, the Pirates keeper, has been in great form. So why do you now all of a sudden go because he's the second choice keeper that you play him? Wrong decision there. And also you've got to play combinations. You know, it doesn't matter what you do in world football, wherever you play. If you don't play the right combinations, you're going to suffer. You chuck people in and they're not used to each other. They haven't played together. It's going to be a recipe for disaster. And that's what happened. For me, you should stick to your combinations. Play your combinations as far as you possibly can, and then take it from there. But the goalkeeper, that was a big mistake on behalf of the coach.
The impact of Sundowns. Bafana went to win bronze medal. 9 of the players in Bafana team was from Mamelodi Sundowns. Lwana Mokoena left Sundowns. They've got new technical team now, new structure in the technical department. Ronald Williams not there. You know, man, also congratulations to him getting a nod to be amongst those for the Ballon d'Or. Let's talk about that setup, how that affects the team.
Well, for me, let's look at the progress that Bafana did in the AFCON, honestly speaking, because if you look at that team and then you come and say they had minimum goals that were considered in that whole tournament, and then you look at this Bafana in 2 games, you considered 4 goals. So if you go back and look at the Sundowns' impact when they were still okay, you look at Ronald Williams, Mabunda on the right, Mudiba on the left, Vala Mokoena.
You're referring to Mudau on the right,
Mudau, yes, Mudau on the right. Sorry about that. And then you've got Mokoena, you've got Tembazwane, somehow the speedy winger, sometimes the right back, Morena. So all of those players contributed a lot. So now if you go back and look at the team now in terms of Sundowns on its own, you wouldn't expect them to be there again. Let's look at what Pirates players are doing now. That's why we need to pick it up and say, yes, Sundowns players had their chance because the team was doing well, but now you're looking at the Pirates team that is doing well. And the Pirates players have contributed for us to get those 4 points. So that's why I just look at the two elements of players that are like helping us in Bafana team.
Shane, where do you blame the 4 goals conceded? The central pairing of Dotley and Ngezana. Who would you have actually paired together if you were to try and not concede as many goals?
It's a difficult one, you know. I don't know what the coach is thinking of. If he's looking at the future, what he's doing. You know, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're looking at, where they are, their positioning, what they're doing. For me, you've got to blame basically the backline and the midfield for giving the guys the space. I mean, if you give any team space, a decent team, they're going to punish you. And that happened. Look, the second goal against Uganda was a shocker. The keeper should have done a lot better. But if you're given a team space like they gave them, and then they don't learn from the first goal and still give the guy space to have a shot, and yeah, it was from far out, you can't be given team space in that area. And the problem with that is I think it's because they weren't gelling and the team weren't playing as a unit. Yeah. You know, we're talking about Sundowns in AFCON were playing great football. They were on top of their game. All of a sudden, changes in the coaching department, things are now not working out 100% right. So the big difference is that, the unity. The players knew exactly what each player was doing. We went into this game with quite a few changes, and players don't know. You know, and you're not training week in, week out. You're only having a week to train. So to try and get that gain and fluidity gain into that is very difficult. You know, I feel sorry for the coach, to be honest.
I think maybe to add on that, Shane, if you look at the team now, you look at our left back, Modiba. He likes to go forward a lot, and then you look at Mudau as well. They're more like players that wants to go forward. So now they had the 2 central defenders that knew them because they were from the same club level. Yeah. Mvala, Kekana. They knew when these guys are going, they're going to close those spaces. But if you look at the way we considered some of these goals, it's because Mukwena was forced to drop back because they were like open spaces because the 2 central midfielders were not in understanding. You know, playing together for a long time, especially in that area, gives you a lot of, or if maybe it's not like we're playing in the same team. You are more of a senior, a centre back. I'm coming in as the one that is going to do the job. But I will take a lot of guidance from you. Yeah. So this is the mistake that is happening between Ngezana and Dotley. If maybe both of them, there was like a little bit of a senior player in between, we shouldn't have considered more of these goals.
It always done wool up, and you know, you'd say that the 2 fullbacks like bombing forward. You've got to be restricting that at times and say, well, only one goes and one stays. You know, that's the modern day football.
But it's also the shifting situation.
It's a shifting situation, exactly. So if one goes, the other one stays, and you come in and help the defenders. But yeah, well, they get 2 gain. And even if you got the 2 centre midfielders dropping back and helping, you're still leaving the space in between the strikers and the midfield and defence to get the ball. So you're always putting yourself under pressure. You got to make those adjustments. You know, as a coach, you should be saying, well, oh, hang on a minute, what's going wrong here? Stop the one from gain, stop the other one from gain at times. You know, so it's a learning curve, I suppose, a learning experience. I rate Dotley as a player, but he needs someone with a little bit more experience to guide him, and that will help. It'll make a big difference.
It's not all bad. There were some good news out of these games. You know, we considered 4 goals, fair enough, but it was also the comeback. Let's talk about the comeback. The players off the bench, you're talking about telepathy, talking about players who gel, players who play regularly together. We saw that happen in both matches. We saw how a talent Mbata who's been given a chance, who made from SuperSport United, coming to Orlando Pirates, slotted in beautifully so in the middle of the park for the Buccaneers. He scored 2 identical goals in those 2 matches. Let's talk about that. And Mufukeng also been introduced, coming in as a sub later on. And Chain did eventually get a start, also in a game against South Sudan.
I mean, these are players for me, they're just like raising their hands to say, we're ready for the challenge. We want to continue helping our national team. And obviously, that's the most identified place as a, as a player. You know, when you get there, you do well for the national team. Your record will speak volumes in terms of the respect that you'll get out there. So exactly now, these are the players we're talking about. Nobody maybe was thinking of them. Mufukeng is a new young boy into the Bafana fold. We want to see if he's going to take the pressure. Talete Mbata, you know what he's doing at Pirates, first time in the national team, but they've proved a point. So this is what you really want to see from the players that are in the national team.
The finishing at the end, Shane, got to applaud that.
Yeah. No, it was brilliant, you know, and if you look at the goals, I mean, they were scored brilliantly. And people don't realise, you go to South Sudan, it's not an easy place to go. I mean, the pitch is not the best pitch in the world. You go there and you know what you're going to be up against. So to get a result there is brilliant. And for me, you know, I take your hat off to them. They fought, bounced back. You know, you could easily have just, after the Uganda game, say, oh, we're in trouble here, but they didn't. But the goals, the finishing, talent, he's got a right name, talent, because he's got loads of talent. Let's just hope he keeps grounded, keeps his head right. He can be playing overseas very soon. But he's got to keep grounded, he's got to be working hard. Mofokeng's the same thing, you know, he's a very good talent. He's just got to learn, needs to learn the game a little bit more. And when I say that, we all know what I'm talking about, is he needs to know exactly what to do. Not play for himself, play for the team. Also got a big talent to go a long way forward. Pirates looking good for the year, you know, and that's one thing that Jerry will be happy about.
Osuna Paulus.
I wanted to go there. Thank you, Brian.
Osuna Paulus. I mean, he, for me, single-handedly took Polokwane City into the top 8.
Yep.
He has continued his performance into the Bafana fold. I know why some people are actually looking for his signature. So I won't be surprised before we get to the end of the transfer window if he leaves Polokwane and eventually joins another team. Let's talk about him.
But do you think he's still going to be there? Polokwane City?
I doubt he will stay.
I'm just taking the question back to you.
Yeah, I doubt he's going to be there, but it's all about the money at the end of the day.
He won't be there.
You think he'll be gone?
He'll be
No,
gone.
he'll be gone. He'll be gone. I can't put Sundowns that much, but I'm saying Chiefs, Pirates.
Yeah.
Between Chiefs and Pirates. That's where I see him heading to. He's a quality player.
Don't be surprised if he doesn't get an overseas move. If Chiefs or Pirates don't get him, he'll get an overseas move. He's a class player. He really is a class player. I watched him at the beginning of last year, and I was very, very impressed by him. He's got all the talent as well. His pace, he's got everything. And whoever gets him is going to get a decent player.
I know it's only now that South Africans are actually seeing him and talking about him now, but he's got all the caps from junior level. I watched him from under 17 in the COSAFA tournament, also in the AFCON when he eventually played. They went to play for the under 20 AFCON. So a man that knows him very well is Thabo Sinong. Coached him at that level, so he's come up the ranks beautifully so. Now, it is all poised. Uganda won their second game by 2-0. South Africa won their game 3-2, so you got 2 teams on 4 points. We know number 1, 2 goes through. What do we do now going into the next? Because you've got to have matches coming up in October as well. 2 matches in October, 2 matches in November for us to wrap things up.
Win. Simple. Win the next 2 games.
Yeah.
Qualified. It's as simple as that. You know, you can't take your foot off the pedal now. You've got to build on what you've done now. And when I say build on it, work on those combinations.
Yeah.
Start with 1 or 2 players that he's been putting on the bench.
Yeah.
You know, Ronan might be back by then, which will help because he has got the experience at the back. He does control, he does speak to the guys. We've got to build on it now. And going forward, you know, get this under the belt, get qualification under the belt and move on. I think that's the best thing.
Jerere?
I think for me, credit needs to go to Bafana team's attack. In 2 games, we scored 5 goals. So I think for me now, it's all about the coach to make sure that he does, as Shane is saying, the best selection at the back, where we need to have a minimum of goals to concede because we're good in scoring. So we need to guide ourselves against the opposition because this is where our downfall was in these 2 games, considering in both games. So for me, selection, I think the coach has learned his lesson in terms of selection of the players in certain positions. You know, so that will be important.
And it's never often we can say that Bafana are scoring goals.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's not a thing that happens every year, everything. So
Exactly.
let's work on that, score the goals, but as Jerry says, tighten up at the back.
Now, the wait is over. This weekend, the Betway Premiership kicks off. We know that 4 teams, Stellenbosch, Orlando Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns and Skukuuna won't be in action this weekend. They'll only play during the week because they're still doing duty on the continent, you know. But before we start with the Betway Premiership, Jerere, Pirates playing against Jwaneng Galaxy in the Champions League over 2 legs. Sundowns plays in Mbabane Swallows in the Champions League over 2 legs to book their places into the group stages. Let's start with the Pirates game. Last season, they played the same team at the same stage and eventually were knocked out via penalties. Do you see that happening this time around with the Pirates that you're seeing now?
Yep. if you look at the Pirates' performance now,
Yeah.
really, I'm giving them the edge to go to the next round of the Champions League. They're going to win home and away. Definitely, that's my take.
So you're saying they're gonna this weekend they're going to Botswana, they'll win it, and come back and wrap things up as Queen Samamize.
You know, somehow, yes, Pirates not a place where they love like Kaizer Chiefs, because Chiefs normally their pre-season is Botswana.
Yeah.
But it's a neighboring country where we're gonna have a lot of support. When I say we're gonna have a lot of support, please Shane, don't fight me. Yes, I'm a Pirate. When I say we're gonna have a lot of support.
We know you're Pirates, man, Jerry. We all know that. Don't worry about it. We know that. But I've got to agree with Jerry. I think they've learned their lesson from last year. They're not going to make the same mistakes. I think the team's improved a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, the coach is known as a cup man, so this is a cup, so hopefully he'll progress in it. But I think they've learned their lesson. I think they'll be a little bit too strong for them. So, yeah, I think they'll get the job done.
Mbabane Swallows versus Mamelodi Sundowns. Remember, Mbabane Swallows going to play the match at Lucas Moripe, which is home ground to Mamelodi Sundowns. How do you see that one going?
Yo.
Bearing in mind, Sundowns haven't scored a goal in 3 matches.
Exactly.
I want to go today, you're in my head. You always think of something that I want to answer you about. To say my concern is like, for Sundowns locally in the MTN 8, they played 3 games. They haven't scored a goal. For them to concede, to move to the semi-finals, they were given a goal by Polokwane City. Polokwane City saw that Sundowns are struggling, let's give them a goal to proceed. But Stellenbosch were like,
not gonna happen.
They must work, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, no goal. 3 games, you look at the strikers they've got, the new Brazilian is Salis.
Yeah.
What for?
Somebody
3
called him
games without a goal,
Sales.
what for?
Somebody said they're going for sale. It was sales.
Exactly.
Salis, yeah.
Well, they spent a lot of money on him. So,
Yeah, really.
You know, for me, this is a difficult game because we all know that they're struggling.
Yeah.
And this is a right time for Mabani to play them, is because now they are struggling. If he doesn't win this game, I think we could be seeing a change at Sundowns. We could be seeing a change in the way they're working.
So early?
So early. If it was me and it's not working, make the change now while you can before it's too late.
Right, gentlemen, we'll meet again next week on our talk because something I want to deal with. Stellenbosch. Exodus of players leaving Stellenbosch. That's a big thing for me. That's all we have time for today. We'll catch up next week again. We start looking more into the Betway Premiership and also looking at what could have gone right or wrong for all the teams playing in different competitions when it comes to South Africa. Thanks, Shane. Thanks, Jared and Shane. Thank you very much, guys. Until we meet again next week. They're not clicking and bangs here today. That's it.
I saw a cherry and it was red.